Hello, this is day 206 of startup. So this was a weekend I did not work on, and I do not want to pretend. I feel really bad about being being seen as working on weekend when I have not worked. But you have to remember this is a YouTube channel which is separate from actual startup. So this is about the updates and whatever I'm thinking. So I did not work on this weekend, but I did think about some things. So this video is about some of the progress that we have already made, but still like there's a gap huge gap to be filled to be at a point where I can say that this is the idea and that we won't need to pivot on the idea level itself. So idea is not yet validated, and this is a point I want to make through this video, that even after like 3 or 4 months of working on the idea, we are still not at a point where I can say that it's validated. So first, quickly, what we have achieved so far. So I started working on the startup on in December 2023, just last year, and at that point, I did not even know what idea was. In fact, what space I will be working on. Will it be cybersecurity? Will it be sales tech? Will it be construction tech? And first few months, in fact, were about just understanding what I want to work on, what I want to devote my next 5 to 6 years of my life on. So first 3 months was just exploring various ideas. Then I got a co-founder, and then I got a friends and family investment, and then we started working on a particular idea. Now this idea, when we started out, I started telling that idea to a number of people. A lot of them were potential users, some of them were investors, and some of them were just my friends, who are pretty smart people, by the way. So they do matter. And the experience we had of telling this idea was most of the people first understood a completely different idea. Like they immediately had a knee-jerk reaction, which was based on assuming that we are trying to build a tool that will completely replace a cold caller with an AI automation tool. But then when we explained, no, that is not what we are building, and it took us some time to really get to hammer that part, that no, that is not what we're doing. What we are doing actually is enabling cold callers, making them more efficient by building a tool which doesn't replace them, but makes them more efficient in a certain, because of certain reasons, some features that we are trying to build. Then suddenly their interest would go down. So that was the interesting part, and that could have been very demotivating if I did not have a lot of faith and belief and interest in this particular domain. So me and co-founders, despite that negative reactions, we decided to hammer on this idea, because we figured out that the reason for negative reaction is not that they think that the idea cannot deliver value, but a lot of this negative reaction is also because they think that it is not even feasible. So their emotional reaction to what we were saying was a little bit intermingled. So I mean, I understand what I just said sounds a little confusing, but I think it will become more clear as I go forward on this video. So last few months, I think some of the things we did have actually eliminated a lot of those doubts. So now when I have a working demo, me and my co-founder, we are able to see a completely different kind of reaction from people. In fact, my co-founder has went back to some of those people who had told him on his face that this can never work. And now actually understand after seeing the demo and say, oh, this is interesting. Now I can see that this can actually work. So okay, what did change? So what some of the things were around technical feasibility. So when we were starting out, there were some issues like whether we'll be able to intercept. So this is a technical issue. Intercept calls from various tools like Skype, from Twilio, from whatever calling software people are using. How will we redirect that audio to our software for processing and then send it back to that software? So we had some ideas, but they were not like tested out. So we have been able to like really implement those things, and now we know that it works. Then we had technical issue around like whether a recorded sound and a user voice and a computer generated voice, like three sources of sounds, can we make a final recording where it is indistinguishable, like the three sources of sounds. And this is where a lot of people had a lot of like their disbelief around. But here also we worked a lot last few months, and now we are not at 100%, but we really think like we are at 80% where it is at the acceptable level. So that has been answered. And the third thing was like, we built this software by assuming certain things about cold calling. Like we try to differentiate cold calling as a certain kind of conversation which is different from the regular conversations we have with friends, with family, with office people. And our software can only work if those assumptions are true. And a lot of people had those, especially like even for us, in fact, that was true because a lot of people had that doubts like whether those assumptions are really true, or because any of those, and those assumptions are really psychological assumptions, and if those assumptions do not fall true, then the software will fail again because of psychology reason. But now, last few days, last month, in fact, my co-founder has been able to make more than 300 calls using the software. His There are two more people who has been working with him as early users, and they have been able to make calls also. So we know that maybe it doesn't work in all scenarios, we still need to test it, but at least there are some b2b calling scenarios that we are doing here within our team and the teams who are working with us where it is feasible in that sense. So now when we actually do a demo, we can actually show it. Like my co-founder can connect the software to the actual Zoom call that is happening, and then show the features and the audio which is going through the software and how it is being processed. So that removes all those doubts around, oh, this is not even feasible, oh, this is so stupid, or this is stupid because of this reason or that reason. Now people know that, oh, this can work. Now the only thing they have to think about is whether this will work. This is working, but is this thing really helpful? So I think that change now has really shifted the balance. So now I'm seeing in the last few meetings, and this was again one of the validation thing that goes on. Like now people are actually starting to see, oh, this is interesting. I would like to try this, or I can try this. I do not know how much benefit I will get out of it, but definitely there is some idea there. There's something like it's possible that can really work out. So I think all of this does seem like it's a huge progress on the validation front. Maybe we are ready to go for investment, we are ready to just scale up the marketing, but no, we are not. As I think more, unfortunately, there's still some barriers to cross, because right now we have other users who have used, so of course we are using ourselves, we know something, but when we are of course biased, right? We want to believe in certain things, and the users who have worked with us so far, still none of them are using it on their own on a regular basis. It's only when we go with our own laptop then they get to use it. So do not have still verified the engagement, that if you're not forcing people to use it, then do they open the software every day and use it on their own? And that will give some at least validation that on the value front. Second thing we still need to figure out, or still need to see, have some data on the ROI. Like once they use it every day, and at the end of the month or at the end of 3 months, are they seeing some kind of impact on their bottom line or top line, whatever it is, like more sales, for example, more conversions or more productivity? And only then we'll be able to fix a price. So if they're getting a value, then we can have a percentage of value as the price for the product. And that price, in my mind, I think the number is it should be above $100 to be sustainable. So if it is only $10 of value we are generating for them, then even though it is generating some value, it is feasible on the technical front, it is feasible that it is usable, but it is still not feasible because of the sustainability. So I think, yeah, these are the few things that we still need to cross. Definitely we are at 70% mark on validation, but we are still not at 100%. Anyways, take care.